Welcome back to Ground Up with Natalie, where your curious mind will go on a journey to learn something new. I guarantee you'll leave this episode motivated to take action on something that inspires you, big or small. So enjoy the listen and stay for a while. Follow us. Today we have the amazing Priscilla Quintana on, and she's an actress known for the hit show based on a true story on Peacock, as well as Good Trouble on Freeform. And we have the most amazing conversation about our journeys as actors. We met in an audition room in 2019 when neither of us had worked a day in our life. And so we talk about her audition story for Good Trouble, her audition story for Based on a True Story, us being so nervous and never thinking that we'll book a day in our life. We talk about social media and how that plays a role in our life, our day-to-day life as actors, as humans. We talk about networking and if we think it's important or not as an actor. And just a whole bunch of other things. I think that you might want to get your, pen and paper out for this one because there's a lot of goodies and tips and just a lot of value packed into this 1 hour episode. So I hope you enjoy. And if you do, send it to a friend, give them some inspiration, and make sure to follow us as well.
Cheers, first of all.
Cheers.
Love you.
Love you. Okay, Priscilla, I'm so excited to have you on the pod. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here with you.
Finally, we've been trying to make this happen forever.
I think like over a year now,
Yeah.
honestly.
I went to our text and I'm like, hey, are you available? Hey, are you available? Hey, are you available?
I'm in like Croatia or somewhere random.
Yeah. Okay, so I love to start every episode with the Ground Up 3, which is 3 really difficult questions. So I'm sorry.
Okay.
But where are you from?
Oh, you're silly. I grew up in Southern California.
Wow.
Yeah,
Where specifically?
A city called Downey. Not many people know about it. There's really no reason to go there unless you need to buy a car. It's like 15 to 20 minutes south of downtown.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know Downey because I'm from
you
here
do?
too. Yeah. Because I'm
Okay.
Orange County.
Yeah, but even then.
Downey is random.
So random. But our claim to fame is we have the oldest McDonald's
Really?
in the world. Yeah, we do.
Wait, that's actually kind of cool.
Shout out Downey.
Is that the OG, like where they started?
Actually, I don't think it's the OG, but it is the oldest one. It has the same menu. It has a museum.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
It's kind of, you're
That'll
being
give
generous,
Downey that'll give Downey some business though. People probably want to visit that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll take you.
I'm curious. What was your first dream job?
My first dream job?
Yeah. So you're like 7 years old and you're like, I want to be a lawyer.
I always wanted to work in the ocean. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't know what like a marine biologist was at 7, but I knew that I wanted to dive every single day and work with animals in some way.
Wow.
I still think that's going to happen for me.
Well, maybe
actually.
a role where you're
Absolutely. Whenever I get those roles, even though if it's for like not a good movie, like a shark movie or something, I'm like, but do I get to swim all day?
Yeah.
Like I will do that.
I was like, when I was researching for this episode, I read an interview that you did and someone was like, do you want to go to space? And you're like, yeah, but more like the depths of the ocean.
Yes, absolutely. I love that you found that. You dug deep.
I did.
I love the ocean. I think it's the most fascinating thing ever.
It is. I watched on the plane the other day, like the Planet Earth.
Love.
Dude.
David Attenborough's amazing.
Yes,
Yeah.
but the amount of species.
I know.
It's
Whenever people
insane.
are like, do you believe in aliens? I'm like, how can you not? We have them in our ocean. Like, why would they not be in space as well?
Oh, wow,
if
that's
the
so true.
craziest things exist down in like Mariana's Trench, these crazy fish, like those angler fish or the fish with like that light that goes over their head.
Yep.
The huge teeth. Did you ever see that like blob fish that washed up in New York or New Jersey or something?
No.
It was like this dark black scary looking fish with like massive teeth and it looks like a straight up Martian. I'm
Really?
gonna pull up a picture for you.
Yes.
Yeah. But it's like if those exist close to us, like who knows?
Why is there only, yeah, exactly. I
Yeah.
agree. And when I was watching it, there was this one where it was this like rock looking fish and it had a bait
Yeah.
from its head.
That's what I'm talking
A little
about.
fish, a shrimp
Oh.
on it, like a fake shrimp.
Oh my
That
goodness.
one. And it looks like a rock, so it's sitting there, and this little fish comes up and eats the shrimp.
And then
it eats it. But it grew off his head.
That's amazing.
And I'm like, so you're
evolution is insane.
Yeah.
It's actually wild.
Yeah. I mean, I am scared of like going. I mean, I surf.
Oh, do you?
So I'm not scared of
in California?
Yeah.
Okay, if you can surf in California, we got some great whites. So
yeah,
you're,
that's true.
You're
that's
brave.
true. That's true. But like going way down there is spooky.
I know, it is spooky. That's
but it's
why
fascinating.
I love it. Yeah.
Okay, now what was your first job?
Oh my gosh. My first job, I worked at Target, actually. I was a cashier at Target.
Shut up.
And
in Downey?
In Seal Beach.
Okay.
Yeah. That was like, honestly, to this day, the hardest job I've ever had. Like standing on your feet for 8 hours a day was so painful. I have so much respect for people who do that forever. It was wild. And dealing with like so many different personalities, different types of people.
Do you remember your first day? Because when my first day working at Albertsons.
Oh, hey.
I wasn't old enough. I don't think you could be a cashier till you're 18, and I was 16, so I was a bagger.
Okay.
But I remember after my first day, the next day I woke up and I was like, oh, my legs are sore.
So sore.
Yeah.
My feet were so sore. Wait, you were a bagger?
Yeah.
Okay, I remember my first day at Target, because you're a cashier and the bagger, and my first day at Target, I was like, just bagging my first customer, and I was shaking. I remember being so nervous, and I was like shaking, and I was like dropping things into the bag, and it's so indicative of how I even am today. Like when I get nervous, my hands shake. And remember auditions, like in-person auditions? Remember those days?
Yeah, seriously.
Way back in my day.
Literally.
But my hands would always shake, but it started at Target. I never got past it.
Funny. Oh my God, you're all nervous. That just goes to show how sweet you probably are.
Oh my goodness,
you know what I mean?
Thank you. I was so nervous. Oh.
I am a big audition shaker.
Are you?
Yes, in person. Obviously, I'm not like shaking for my tapes at home in my living room.
Imagine, that would be so stressful. Oh my God.
But the first time, and then once the casting director is like, ooh, let's do it again, it goes away.
Yes.
Because I'm like, oh, great, I'm accepted, like I'm in the right direction, whatever.
Agree. Do you prefer in-person or self-tapes?
That's such a great question. I prefer tapes because I book more.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah. All the projects that I've booked, except for one, have been self-tapes.
Same.
Yeah.
Is the one Good Trouble?
Yes.
Because I went in too.
Yes.
So I know that you went in for that.
Did you go in?
Yeah.
For my character?
Isabella.
Oh, no way. Okay. I swear. Oh, wait. What was the audition we met at?
Okay, yeah. So.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so Priscilla
We have different memories of this day.
We do. I have receipts, though.
Oh,
what
shit.
the audition was for.
Receipts, Trump memory, for sure.
Okay, so Priscilla and I met in an audition room.
Yes.
And you're the only person I've ever met in an audition room and then,
Same.
like,
connected
and hung out after.
I think I was a total creep because we talked in the room and you were so sweet, and then you went in before me and you left, and I was leaving and I was like, oh, I didn't get her information, like how will I ever know? And I went to the list, I was like, Natalie, and I went on Instagram and found you.
Okay.
You're just so sweet.
Aww. Yeah, so that I remember you DM'd me, right? And then
probably.
Yeah, and then we started we just followed each other, and then we started like responding to each other's stories and stuff. So then we met in the audition room, and then we both got a call back.
Okay.
And so we went the next day and saw each other again.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, we had a producer session.
Okay.
For
what was this for?
Titans.
And I swore it was
Legacies.
I thought it was a mermaid show. That's what
You thought it was Siren.
Yes. I thought it was Siren. Okay, Titans.
Yeah.
Titans.
Yeah.
Titans? How do you say that? Titans? Yeah. Titans? Like what? Titans? What? How do you say that? Okay.
So that's what it was for. And
yeah.
Oh my God, it was totally one of those auditions where you could hear the other people in the other room.
Oh my God, the worst.
What?
That's
Honestly,
kind of like terrible.
Rude,
right?
awful. Like I'm
It's like-
already nervous, and you're changing your okay, we're all human. Whether you want to or not, you're sitting there going, either judging the person, just be like, oh, like I'm gonna do it so different or whatever, even though you can't actually hear what's going on, but you can't help but be like, oh, they didn't shout that part, or like, right?
I would always put my headphones in because I will get so in my head.
Yeah.
And I just, I could not stay there and listen. I would either exit the room or put headphones in because it would just totally throw me off.
Another reason why I like tapes better.
100% agree with you.
Yeah.
But I do miss that urgency of being in the room. But if I had to choose one, it would for sure be tapes. But being in the room did bring in a different energy. Mostly handshaking energy, but you know, it was,
yeah, exactly.
It was nice sometimes.
So have you been in an in-person theatrical
No.
audition since 2020?
No, I haven't.
Yeah.
Have you?
So I haven't been on one. I did test for a show last year.
Okay.
And it was in person.
Okay.
But I've tested on Zoom for other things.
Same.
So it was like a coincidence. Like, I don't know why they did it in person. I was fine with it. But no, other than that, zero.
Okay. Yeah. No, same.
Crazy.
My friend Tommy just booked a show, and he did a self-tape from his home. Then they did a Zoom. Then he went to the studio and did it in person. Then like the next week they flew him out to Canada or something.
Oh,
so
that's exciting.
Some people are doing in-persons, I think, but it's pretty rare.
Yeah.
I think it's probably like, what would you say, like 3%
Yeah.
now or something?
And I don't know, like the first audition, I think will never go back in person.
I don't think so either.
Why would
they? Do you know Greg Orson, the casting
Yeah.
director? So
That's who I tested for last year.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, I think.
Okay.
Greg is, what is he? Yeah, 100%.
He does, I don't remember. Yeah, you can look it up. I
Okay.
don't want to mess it up. But he was doing a podcast with someone. I saw it on TikTok, and he was saying that back in the day, they used to get like 3,000 actor submissions, and then they would call in like a couple hundred, right? And now he's saying we get 7,000 submissions because we're not calling people in anymore. So that's like doubled the submissions per role. And he says that which I really appreciate, he says he watches every single tape all the way through, because I'm sure that you've heard that some casting directors like watch the first 30 seconds.
Yeah.
A lot of them say that's not true, and I hope it's not. But regardless, he was just saying that the amount of submissions that they get now are way more than they've ever had before. So competition was already fierce, and now post-strike with lack of roles, or I don't want to say lack of roles, with less roles, which is just true, and more actors, it's just even fiercer than it always has been.
Wow, I did not know that.
I'll send it to you.
I thought
it's very interesting.
I thought that the submissions were less because now I feel like that so our tapes are going to network. Right? Like our first tapes, maybe a callback, are going all the way.
You think so?
Yeah, like if we make it.
Yeah.
No, if we get a callback and we're
I see.
Like our original tape is going far. That's why it's important, I think, to like, when you get that first audition, this is what my agent tells me. She's like,
share your wisdom with me,
She's
please.
like, when you get these auditions, especially for a series regular, you want to really treat it as like, this might be seen by a lot of people if it's well received. If you're the fit, they're gonna be like, okay, let's send this to the producers. It's going. It's not like back in the day it was callback for the casting director,
right?
And then a producer session, and then a director session.
Wow, so
Network
that's so
studio.
Interesting. So it's important to treat each audition like it is a producer callback or a director
Absolutely.
callback. I needed to hear that, because I have felt myself, I don't want to say slacking, but just feeling uninspired, and therefore not putting in, not like the energy doesn't come out that I want to. But when you put it like that, there's a lot on the line, and especially with less roles and everything, I really should be giving 110%, which I feel like I do, but it's just hard to stay inspired sometimes, especially post-strike. I mean, I'm going to set next week, thank God. But before that, it would have been an entire year that I haven't been on set. And I went to Universal a lot the other day, and I was driving around on the golf cart, and it was like all those feelings came back. It's heaven. Yeah. It really is. And I was just so happy. But yeah, I thank you for saying that. I needed to hear that today.
And it makes sense so that you wouldn't feel, I feel the same way. I'm like preparing less for auditions. And I'm like, even me saying that out loud just now, I haven't thought about the conversation Gwen and I had, because it was like a year ago when she told me that. And I inspired myself. I'm like, all right, I got to do it too, because it's true, But no, it's definitely going much further, because they're not even doing Zoom callbacks. So those tapes are really going. And then
you're so right.
You might tape again, right, for like the network or studio. But it's like now you're down to like 2 tapes rather than before it was like 5 auditions, which I appreciate.
Right.
Technically, we should be like, okay, cool. That's great. We don't have to. Because remember when back in the day, it's like, oh, they like me, you get a call back, and then you're like, fuck, just send me the offer. But no, it's like,
Yes.
oh shoot, now a chemistry read.
Yeah.
Another chance to fuck up. And it's
Oh my
like,
gosh, I remember I fucked up so bad in this chemistry read. The casting director, do you know Deanna Brigitti? She's an absolute fucking angel. I love her so much, and she still calls me in. I don't know why, because I bombed this so bad. But this was in the day where obviously we were going in for auditions, producer callbacks, whatever. And it was all the final girls. They had us all get there at the same time. And there was like a living room like you have here downstairs, and we were all sitting around a table, and oh my God. And there was one girl who was supposed to play my little sister that in the audition. So we were gonna act opposite each other in front of everyone. And she was just like a super, super mean girl in the living room. So then I had to go in with her, and like the scene was like, she really looks up to me, and I had to like coddle her and baby her. And I was like, I don't want to
felt the
touch
opposite.
you. Yeah, I did. I was like scared of her, to be honest. I was so intimidated. She was like, yeah, sometimes if you want a girl to mess up in an audition, when she comes out of the bathroom, you should say, oh my God, have you been crying? Your eyes are so red.
she said that?
Yeah. She didn't say that to me. She was saying that's what she'll do in order to get in someone's head.
Wait, what?
Like if they're going for the same role.
When did she say that? Like,
When we were all sitting down in the living room.
she told all the other actresses that?
Yeah.
That's really odd.
She was wild.
Have you ever seen a Deadline article of her? Like, has she booked?
She has.
Damn it.
She has booked.
You have to tell me who it is after
okay,
this.
I will. Yeah. I don't want to go too much right. But yeah, she has booked. Wish her well. Hope she doesn't. She's probably booking because she matured, I'm hoping.
Yeah.
And maybe realized
That's a
that
real
she doesn't
thing.
have to be like that.
Yeah.
Anyways, I don't remember where I was going with this. Oh, in person. So we were all just sitting like around in a room together. So that totally threw me off. I bombed the audition. Deanna and I, like, we're friends now. Like, we'll go hiking every now and then. And one time she was calling me in again. She's like, yeah, just like don't forget all of your lines this time, okay? Because I totally bombed it. This was many moons ago.
Yeah,
though, like
yeah,
almost 10 years ago, I think.
We all have those.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? Oh.
Mine still live in my head. Like I'll be like in bed at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'll be like, that one time I forgot my lines in front of Sarah Isaacson or whoever.
Yeah.
Did you go out for Baker and the Beauty? Like
No.
a few years ago. Oh, okay, that was another one I bombed.
Oh.
If anyone watches this, they're gonna be like, or when people watch this, they're gonna be like, she bombs a lot of auditions. I book too, okay?
Yeah. Are you kidding me? I bomb 8 out of 10.
No,
Like,
you don't bomb 8 out of 10. Like
in
truly
person,
bomb?
Okay, well, let me tell my stories.
Okay,
So
okay.
in person, oh my God. Okay, did you ever go into auditions for casting directors where they weren't taping back in the day?
Pre-reads.
Pre-reads. Okay.
Pre-read is when they honestly, I think they didn't know if you were going to do a good job or not, so they didn't want to waste their time with the main casting director. So you would just read for an assistant. Then that would decide if they were going to bring you in for the casting director and actually tape you. So that was like step 0 out of 10,
Yep.
right? It wasn't even step 1 yet.
Right, it was 0, 100%.
Yeah, yeah.
So one time I was at a pre-read with, but I believe it was the casting director.
Okay.
Oh my God, this
What?
character was like crying and stuff, and I could not cry. I mean, I was 20, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? This is a decade ago. And so green, and it was like for a series regular,
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah.
And it was a pre-read, and this casting director just looking at me like, and I'm just like fake crying. I'm like, like that. Like,
we've all been there.
yes,
We've all
and
been
it
there.
was so bad. And
Oh my God.
and I just left and started crying for real. And I'm like,
You're like,
what?
can I come
Yeah,
back?
I'm like, wait, I can do this.
I can do this.
But
oh my goodness.
another one was my Siren story. So, okay, so I'm in the room for Siren, and I remember it's Tanis Vallely. Have you ever gone in for her?
No. That's a casting director?
Yeah.
No, I haven't.
And it was in the Valley, and I go in and I'm sitting there, and at this point, I'm 23, so I've been auditioning for 6 years
Okay.
and still haven't booked anything. Have not booked anything. And so this is definitely at a point where I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh.
What am I doing with my life? Do I want to keep doing this?
Yes, I'm working
All
at
the
a
things.
restaurant. I'm like, I just want a callback. I had not gotten a fucking callback. My career has been like, you know, so slow,
And then zoop.
and kind of, but like pinned. But it wasn't like, oh, good, she's getting 8 out of 10 callbacks,
Oh, I
but she's not
see.
booking. It was just like nothing, and then like, oh yeah, okay,
But these last couple years for you, I feel like really.
yeah, it has
Yeah.
been. It is.
But no one sees that like what's behind that quick incline, like no one sees.
Yeah,
that.
Concept of the show.
Yeah.
Is talking about that.
Yes.
So I'm there and I'm excited. You know, I am very prepared. I had coached with one of my best girlfriends, Levin, who's like on Hunger Games. Like she's an actress that I always looked up to. And so she coached me. So I go in and this is where the days where you bring your sides in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so we're doing it. And one of the lines was Captain Ahab, I said. Like that was one of the things. I was like, thank you, Captain Ahab.
Yeah.
Because I'm talking to like a fisherman guy. And she goes, oh, I said Captain Ahab.
Okay.
And she's like, it's Captain Ahab. So we'll just do it again. Because clearly she liked me. And she's like, yeah. So when I send it to producers, it's like, yeah. So I do it again and I say Captain Ahab again.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she's like, one more time, just Captain Ahab, I know. And, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, shit, sorry. And I don't think semantics really matter usually.
I don't think so
But
either.
I think she was giving me notes. And then she's like, oh, and by the way, like say this correctly, whatever, just so we have it. And I'm like, yeah, for sure. Third time.
Oh, gosh.
Third time, left it out. Didn't say it at all. I just said, thank you. Whatever. But I
On
didn't-
purpose?
No.
Because you couldn't remember. Oh, okay.
I didn't know that I left it out.
Oh.
So then she's like, thank you. Bye. And so I'm
Yeah.
walking out and I'm like, okay, that was okay. Like that didn't go terrible. And I'm walking out and I go, oh my God. I didn't say the line that she kept telling me to say at all. I completely dropped it.
Yeah.
And I walked out and I started crying because I used to cry after like all my auditions.
Really?
Yeah. Because I think it was the,
Just like a release finally of that pent up tension,
yes,
probably.
you get the audition.
Yeah.
You prep it.
Yeah.
Then we're girls. We have to get ready.
Yeah.
We get ready at home.
Yep.
Then we put the maps and we
This
drive
was
there.
back in the day
Yes.
when we were driving to
Then we drive there.
auditions.
We pick a song
What a
that maybe
throwback.
goes with the flow or doesn't. You know music, whatever.
Yeah.
You park at the Warner Brothers studio. You give them your ID. You know, it was so much.
It was such a long process.
It was such a long process. And it's
Yeah.
until it's
so tedious.
yes. And until it's over, there's just this pressure.
I know. It's
That-
like it like manifests in my stomach and like a knot in my throat almost. So that makes so much sense why when you're done, it's just like a release.
Yes.
Even if you're not sad or not necessarily happy, it's just a
Yeah. It was mostly either a release or when they had me do it only once because I would be like, because I get really excited too, right? The hope. There's also hope in the beginning when you're
Yeah.
getting ready and driving there and all of that. So it's like nerves, hope. And then,
Yeah.
okay, thank you. 30 seconds in the room,
Yeah.
which happened to me all the time.
yeah,
Same,
same all the time. Yeah.
just one time.
Do you remember when there used to be, it was like pilot season and we would drive from like Burbank to Santa Monica to Sherman Oaks, like and changing in the car
Yes,
and
yes.
changing your look in the car. The trunk of my car was just absolutely, it had more clothes than my closet did during
Yes.
pilot season. And now we don't have to deal with that. So I think self-taping is a blessing in disguise in
Also-
a lot of ways. But yeah, there is something to be said about the courage that we had back in those days.
So true.
It's so courageous. Like that whole thing that you just described, that takes so much guts. It really does.
Yeah.
I'm just so proud of us for getting through that. And I think there's a lot to be said about the way that we've all adapted. You know what I mean? Like we've truly had to be chameleons and just like, all right, this is life now. Even though we were so used to it going a certain way, you have to be so malleable in order to be an actor, I think. And one of my girlfriends, she, her whole company like shut down, so she was looking for new jobs. And she was like, she was saying how she had 3 interviews this week and didn't hear back from any of them. And she was so sad, rightfully so. And then she's like, and I thought about you and how you, because I always say 99 no's for every 1 yes, which I do believe is accurate.
That's my actual stat.
Oh,
Like 99
no,
auditions.
I've never done how did you do that? You just like literally went back through everything?
Well, if I look at my credits, I've booked, I think 11 times.
Okay. Yeah.
I've had 1,000 auditions in a decade. Wow. There's gotta be.
Yeah. No, you're so right.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how to do the math, but
Yeah, I guess it's a lot.
I know, but I
Well-
think it's totally accurate.
Yeah.
And especially if you factor in commercial auditions too, definitely. But yeah, she was like, I admire you guys so much. And I was like, I admire us too, honestly, because it can be it can be pretty heartbreaking, I think.
Yeah, especially so talking about heartbreak when you get close to something. All right, guys, let's take a quick break from the show to talk about our sponsor, Mastermind Media. I've been shooting with Mastermind for a few years now, and I can truly say that they have covered all of my needs within the digital space. They create logos for me, graphic designs for my journal magic. Obviously, they produce the podcast, and it looks amazing. So I love working with them, and they're offering all of my listeners 15% off. So just shoot them an email and tell them that I sent you, and you'll get the discount. All of their information can be found in the show notes below. All right, guys, back to the show.
Yeah.
So, okay, let me ask you some questions. So, one thing I wanted to know was your Good Trouble audition experience. What did that look like?
Yeah.
And like from the first audition, was there a callback? Was there a produced session? Like,
so first audition. So I had just finished wrapping that one show. I don't want to talk about it. I just wrapped a show, and I had just gotten back into town. I was, you know, I was so jet lagged. I was so tired. And I liked the audition. I wasn't familiar with the show yet, but I had met Sierra before, who's the star of the show, obviously. So I just submitted an audition. I didn't really think much of it. I don't know about you. I'm never happy with my self-tapes. Like, I'm never 100% happy. I've never had a tape where I'm like, I did everything I want to do. I nailed it. There's always like 5% I wish I did different. So this was one of those times. And then the same day they were like, hey, can you come in tomorrow? And I was like, okay, yeah, fine, great. So I drove up to Santa Clarita Studio, and I went in for the casting director.
What's his name again?
Scott. I don't know how to say his last name.
Yeah.
Geckinger, I think.
Oh,
Geckinger.
yeah.
Such
He's
an
so
angel.
sweet.
He's so sweet.
when I went in for that role for him, I just appreciate him going, let's do it again.
So
Period.
sweet. And as soon as I got in the room, so it was me, I was reading opposite Tommy Martinez, who played my love interest, Gael. I was also reading opposite Sierra, who plays Mariana on the show. Joanna Johnson, who's the showrunner, was there. Chris Akani, who's an executive producer, was there. And Scott. And I think maybe like a assistant of some sort was there. But JJ was like, we're a very chill group. We don't want you to be nervous. We're just going to do it as many times until you feel comfortable. And I was like, what do you mean? Are you serious? And we did it a few times, a couple of different ways. And it was like the chillest audition ever. And when I walked out, I called my agent and I said, I think I'm going to book this one. I just had a feeling because it was just so easy. It just flowed so well.
And so for people that don't know, because this was heavily recurring.
Yes.
In the beginning, at least, there's no, that was a producer session, but there's no like, goes to network and then to studio. So usually when it's a series regular, there's like 6 auditions. Okay. So this, right?
The only other series regular I had ever done, I booked off self-tape. So I actually don't know. Yeah.
Wait, one tape?
No, it was a series of them. But I don't know who they were going to. I was just getting notes from the casting director to do things different, and she was sending them off. Okay. But I don't actually know. I've never been through the full process for a series regular, besides Good Trouble. But yeah.
So wait, after that day, did you book it from that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you booked it after 2 auditions, essentially?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so I love that story. That's a fun one, seriously.
It was so fun. But do you remember their lot? Where we had to park was so far away from the audition. It was like a 10-minute walk, and I remember I was wearing heels, and I was like, damn it. I walked in like all sweaty and tired because it was like dead of summer too. Yes. But yeah, that was like such a good story. I think like if I felt great leaving, I was so happy with everyone in the room. It was what was your process like, or what was your experience like?
For that show or same, just one. But I went in for I just went in the first time. Okay. There was no tape.
Oh, interesting.
Which, by the way, I mean, not that this even matters anymore, but it goes to show you that it doesn't matter if you get called in or you don't. Because look, you got, for whatever reason, your team was able to get you a self-tape appointment. Yeah. And I don't know if that's because you were out of town or...
No, I was... maybe actually.
Because sometimes back in the day, you weren't able, I'm using air quotes, to get in the room for something because they're like, oh, you know.
She doesn't have enough credits, or she maybe not be the right type, or whatever it could have been. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So that's a perfect example of I went in the room, not even a pin or a callback, and you did your tape, and they're like, they watched it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's no like better or worse at that point.
Yeah, that's why it's important not to compare yourself to other people, which I tend to do a lot. I think it's very human of us. But yeah, if I compared myself to you in that moment, I would have been like, oh my gosh, like they don't want to see me or whatever.
Yeah.
But that's just a great casting director, I think, that will truly give everyone a chance.
Yes,
That's so important.
and find the best person for the role. There, honestly, I believe 90% of casting directors, at least, are going to want to find the right person for the role. And if you are it, you're going to book it.
Yeah.
Because, and this is something I wanted to ask you, is like, how important do you think social media is
Oh, that's such a good question.
for actors today in 2024?
This is something that I have been battling with in my mind a lot lately, because I want to believe that it's less important than I think that it actually is. And I'm kind of coming to terms with that. But, you know, I had this epiphany the other day that we pay for our phones with our lives. Like, sure, we have a bill that we pay $200 a month for, but Instagram, TikTok would not be running if we weren't giving it our time. And sometimes I'll look at the time that I've spent on these apps, and it's like 5 hours a day. I'm literally feeding my life and my time into this little glass box in order to keep it running, right? And it's like when I was a kid, I used to play outside and occasionally get on the phone when a friend would call. Now I'm always on my phone and occasionally looking up outside. And I had this huge epiphany the other day, and I was like, wow, I'm truly paying for my phone with the hours of my life. So I want to believe that I don't need it because I want to gravitate away from it. And that, like, me not really being super active on Instagram is by design because of that belief of mine. But I have been dabbling with this idea. I was just thinking about it and journaling about it this morning. So it's great that you asked this, but I've been dabbling with this idea of like, I either need to get all the way on or all the way off, you know, because I'm very much in the middle right now.
Yeah.
But I do think it's important. What do you think?
Okay, so I love what you said, and I
Yeah.
think that it is such a universal struggle.
I know.
You know? And it sucks because I think everyone's heart and soul wants so badly to smell the roses
Yes.
and enjoy the day and be
Yeah.
with the person that they're talking to. But
Yes.
the addiction is so strong, whether
So
you think
strong.
it is or not. You know, even the picking your phone up and accidentally just your thumb taps Instagram immediately. You know,
Yes.
we all do it. And so I think there is a certain pool of people that are influencers and Instagram famous, for lack of better words. And I believe that influencing is a job, and it's a respectable job. They make
I agree.
a ton of money, and that's what
Yes.
they do.
Yeah.
And because of their reach and their advertising potential, Netflix and Hulu and CBS, whoever, can't help but look at that and go, that's free
Money.
ad dollars.
Yes, I agree with you completely.
However, that's a specific movie, okay? That is the Addison Rays who book the lead in a Netflix movie, right?
Okay, yeah. She's a singer, right? Or I actually don't know.
I'm not sure.
Okay, yeah.
But-
she's great. Whatever she does, she's killing it. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I respect that and I believe it. And honestly, I heard that the movie didn't do well, but I heard that from actor friends that she did fine.
Great.
Right?
Yeah.
But I believe that the us's of the world and people pursuing acting, they're not going to book that movie anyways because there's a pool that Netflix has a list of. There's 10 names that they already have a list, and they go, okay, we want to offer this movie to Sydney Sweeney, to Addison Rae, to Benito Skinner, who is, you know, famous Instagram comedian, actor, really cool guy. He's going to get offers on movies because he's not only talented, but he has a huge reach, right?
Right. Yeah.
But that should not detour us from wanting to audition for Yellowstone. Yellowstone is not going, Taylor Sheridan isn't like, let me look at their Instagram and see how many followers they have.
Yeah.
They're going to cast the cowgirl that fits the cowgirl
Right.
role, period.
Yeah.
A procedural.
Yeah.
New pilots that are coming out that have nothing to do with Instagram and this, an NBC, you know, really cool, I don't know why Westerns keep coming to my mind, but like a Western new, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So really long-winded way to say that, like, I don't think that it's night and day important for us who are like getting in the room already, right?
I agree with you. I don't think it's necessary for those types of roles. I don't think it's necessarily going to make or break us. But that being said, if it's me and a girl that's just as talented as I am and brings something just as interesting to the role with 1 million followers, it's going to go to her.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I've been struggling with that dichotomy a little bit of just trying to figure out what I want to do. And also something about social media. It's just a whole epiphany I had the other day. So tell me if I talk your ear off about it. But I was thinking, like, remember when Netflix came around? The whole appeal of it was that it was commercial free, right? Mm-hmm. That's why people wanted to do streaming, was to get away from cable TV with commercials. Now, what's on our phone when you look at TikTok? It's a girl putting on this lipstick that I want to buy. It's these ads. Oh, I'm such a sucker for targeted Instagram ads. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm always buying the clothes they show me. But it'll be like ads for a dress, or it'll be this new, even like the other day on Amazon, an actor self-tape setup came up as like one of my ads. You know what I mean? And it's like, my phone is like a constant ad, and like, just everything in the world feels like a commercial, when originally the whole reason of like all these streaming services was to get away from commercials, and now they all have commercials too. Yeah. Just like everything is an advertisement in a commercial, and it drives me crazy.
Yep. It's true.
That's why I have a little bit of a hard time with, like, sometimes I'll get a brand deal request, and I'm like, I don't want to be a walking commercial though. Yeah. For a free purse. Like, right. It just doesn't. Oh, remember back in the day when we were actually, well, you still do commercials, but like national commercials, this guy in my acting class booked a FedEx commercial and bought a house with that money. Yes. With the residuals. Like, it was so different for the nationals back then. So different. And now they pay you in a purse. Yeah. You know? Yeah. It's so different.
It really is. No, back in the day, totally. Mm-hmm. One national a year. If you're doing one national a year,
you were set. You and your family were set.
Yes, literally. Yeah. Oh, it's changed so much.
It's changed so much. But that's the thing. I have to be able to change with it. And I'm very rigid right now, and I feel myself being rigid, and I think that that's something I'm going to have to actively work on. Yeah. If I want longevity, you know, because it's like back in the day when computers just came out and people were like, I don't want to use that, you know, and now they're everywhere. You can't escape it. Keep up or get left behind. Exactly. So I think that's maybe what I'm going to have to do.
I know. It sucks because your intuition and your soul.
My soul.
Doesn't want to, so it makes me sad.
1,000%.
Society is what's telling you, everyone that is important. And, It is. It is really hard. I had a conversation with my girlfriend Amelia, who is huge on YouTube and Instagram. She does race cars and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And she was just like, I just committed, and I was like, you know what? This is the future. This is where it's going, and I'm gonna figure it out. And I was asking her kind of advice on like my Instagram and stuff. She's like, it's not going anywhere. It's just gonna progress in a way that's like, yes, get on it, because she's like. See. Yeah. It's just going to keep progressing. Yeah. And, you know, if you don't kind of find your niche.
No, I agree with that. I do agree with that. But the idea that I have for my life, when I look at me in the future in my mind, it's like there is no social media. I don't really want that footprint. Like, I think that a private life is a happy life. I really do. I think that you should keep your relationships private. I think that you should even like keep your family off the internet as much as you can, because it's just like a weird place. And I've seen some relationships get absolutely annihilated because they're in the public eye. And I see myself just living like a very quiet life, but still doing what we do, you know? Like, I wish that I was around before social media when that was possible. But I don't know if that's possible anymore.
I agree. Well, I will say you can do that. You're doing it now. I just want to point out, like, you are doing the dream that you just expressed, okay? You're a working actor. Mm-hmm. You have a beautiful Instagram feed, by the way.
Thank you.
And the engagement is amazing, and it would probably be less, actually, if you were every single day
Yeah,
posting,
I
posting,
do
posting,
have
posting.
really good. I'm always so surprised with like what I get. I'm like, I don't even. Okay, thanks, guys.
But I just want, yeah, you have the aesthetic that you want. You don't spend too much time unless you're scrolling. That's your own, like,
Doom scrolling.
Yeah.
I remember you one time saying that I will never forget these words. Your superpower is that you don't doom scroll. I think is that still the case?
yeah, for the most part.
What do you do? Because sometimes, I mean, I don't know, this is a little deep, but whatever. We'll go there. I was so depressed a couple of years ago. And I would stay in bed in the morning, not even get out of bed to brush my teeth yet. And I would have already spent like 2 hours on my phone. And that's when I was like, this is so accessible and addictive. You know what I mean? And it was just, and I don't do that anymore, but it's crazy how easy it is to stay in bed and stare at this. Like, what?
I know. And it was feeding the depression.
I'm like,
too.
as I look at my phone, I'm like, who's here?
But that doom scrolling was feeding the depression.
Absolutely. 1,000%.
Like when you know, people are like, yeah, I feel so uninspired. I feel so, it's like, it's because you're not getting in touch with nature. You're not getting in touch with yourself.
1000%. We need to hike together.
Yes.
Can we do that?
Yes.
Or a pod walk.
Do you
or
ever
something.
notice like when you do take the walk?
Yes.
Or you take the vitamins or whatever,
Oh,
something that feeds you, you're like,
1000%.
ooh, I feel good.
My best mornings are when I don't go on my phone. I wake up, I have like a red light machine. So I'll do my red light therapy. I won't look at my phone for like the first hour. I'll cook breakfast. I'll clean the kitchen and I'll take my dog on a walk. And those are just the best mornings ever for me versus, you know, when you wake up and you're on your phone or whatever. It really does make such a difference. And it's such an easy fix. Mm-hmm. But why is it not then?
It's just habit building, right?
Yeah.
Like I've said this on the pod as well, like I've gotten in the habit where I wake up and I do not go on my phone for the first hour at least. And I wake up quite early. So usually it's like 2 or 3 hours.
Right.
Because if I wake up at 6,
You're
then
such an early bird. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
You're such an early bird.
and then I don't go on until like, 9 a.m., which is still early.
Excuse me.
Like 9 a.m. is still early to go on, but 6 a.m. is like.
And have you ever like finished scrolling, turned off your phone and been like, I feel so much better now? No, right?
Never.
My self-esteem is on the fucking floor. My eyes hurt from the blue light. Like it's never, and I'm also blind as fuck. So like.
Wait, okay, let's talk about this for a second.
Yeah.
So you asked me if I don't doom scroll. So here's why I can't go too far into a doom scroll because
Tell me.
Before we started recording, you said, I really admire that you have an idea and you put it into action and you actually see it through.
Yes.
Right? Now, what happens to me when I go on social media, I'm bombarded with all of these people, young women who have started businesses and they have, created this really successful podcast, this really successful brand. They're speaking on stages and all of these things, right? Yeah. So if I were to go on and scroll and watch all these, what's going to happen to me? I'm going to go.
You're going to compare yourself.
I'm going to go, I quit.
Yeah.
Why even start? This girl who is 29 with short brown hair and sounds just like me and acts just like me is doing
no one
a
acts
podcast.
just like you. No one is like you.
Is doing a podcast.
Yeah.
Why should I put a bunch of time and energy in starting a podcast? Mm-hmm. Now, obviously, that thinking is incorrect because she is not me. She's a completely different person.
Yeah.
And I bring special sauce to what I'm doing here that no one else, 8 billion people in the world could do. No one else can do what I can do.
No one can.
And it's simply because we're all different humans with a bunch of different neurons. We're just going to have different ideas and say different things that inspire different people in different ways.
Yeah. Even like for auditions, like whenever someone's like, are you sad you didn't get the role? And like a lot of times my friends will book it and I did it. And I'm like, no, because I could never do what she did. I just couldn't. Even if mine is just as good in a different way, I could never bring what she brings because she's her own individual with her own lived life experience, her own quirks, her own little tics, like her own things that make the character what the character is. And I can't do that. And that's okay.
Exactly. And you never will be that character.
No.
You know what I mean?
No.
Unless you're a method actor where you're like, every day going into this.
Like Austin Butler and Elvis who couldn't like get rid of the accent.
Exactly. Jim Carrey freaking in his trailer, like the PAs are having to pull him out because he's like being the character and like won't move. There's like
Really?
crazy stories
How funny.
of him. But exactly that. We're gonna do the best of our ability to be that character in that genre, in that state of being and all of that. But at the end of the day, the casting director sees still a human in front of them and goes, that's the girl.
That's the girl.
And
wait, really quick. I did say this off camera, but I do want to say it on camera because I think it's so important. I seriously admire you. Like, I think that the way that you are so entrepreneurial and the way that you, even like with this podcast, like I remember you kind of mentioning it, but you never talk about things too much. Like, you're not someone that's like, I'm doing this or like, this is what's happening. Like, you're a very quiet mover, which is super cool. But just like the idea of it, to developing it, to seeing it all the way through, to me being here right now, years later, after you first kind of like threw it in a conversation, like that is so amazing. It takes a special person to be able to do it from start to finish. And I think that's amazing. And not even just with the podcast, with your acting, with just everything that you do. You go with Magic Mornings, like everything that you do, you're such a visionary.
Thank you.
You're so inspiring.
Oh my God,
I was
love
talking
you.
about this with Adeline Rudolph, and we were just both like, we talked about you for a good hour at lunch.
Oh my
we were
God,
like,
stop.
she's so inspiring. You are.
Wow.
Shout
Thank
out to
you.
Addie. We
Yeah,
love you.
I would love to have her on.
Oh, I'm sure she would love to. Yeah.
That's so sweet. Thank you. I definitely always need to hear that because the imposter syndrome is real.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. With acting, of course, but also with all my other endeavors.
With just everything.
Yeah. And it has to do
Well,
with.
you're killing it.
Thank you.
You're killing it.
And it has to do
I definitely
with.
look up to you in that way.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Social media can do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Can bog us down, which is why I've tried to develop that habit of not like doom scrolling because it's hard. There's people out there. Also, another thing that happens to me when I scroll is because I do have so many ideas,
Yeah.
I'll see something and I'll just ADD, like switch I'll be working on something, the podcast, and then I'll be like, let me take a social media break. And I'll go look at this girl who did a trend and I'll be like, I'm going to go do that trend right now.
Yeah.
But that's not productive. Yeah. I'm not finishing this really cool thing that I've already put a lot of thought and time and energy into.
Yeah.
That's now not getting any time into it.
Yeah, totally. I think that our generation has ADHD, but it's not, I don't even think it's like we're born with it. I think we've developed it because there's just too much to see. There's too much to do. I could be on my phone for 2 hours just doom scrolling and I put it down and someone can be like, what did you learn? And I won't remember any of those videos I watched. Also, something that's really interesting is addiction is talked about when it comes to alcohol or substances or whatever. But I don't think anyone talks really about, or maybe they do. They do actually. But I think it's not spoken about enough about how much of an addiction social media is. You know, the fact that like you said, you pick up your phone and your thumb automatically goes to Instagram.
Yeah.
Like that is addiction. You don't even realize you're doing it. You're reaching for your drug of choice, which is Instagram, I guess,
100
or TikTok or whatever.
Absolutely. And even if I hide my app somewhere else, once I find it, the habit is there and I just go, okay, I scroll
You hide
to the
your
third
app from yourself.
Like I'll put it on the third
love
page
that.
instead of the first page. It's on like the
What
third
a great
page.
idea,
No, but then
actually.
it's like my thumb just gets faster to go to the third page.
We should delete it. I think I'm going to delete the app when I leave here today, just for like a week or two.
My girlfriend Nikki Koss does that on Mondays. She re-downloads it and she'll post the week
Oh, nice.
that she had, and then she deletes it.
That is genius.
And she does it she's done it for like months.
That is so smart.
Wow. Okay, wait. I did want to ask.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
What?
So, it's 11:11. Make a wish.
Okay.
God, I've had the same wish for so long. All right, so to bring it full circle, I do have my receipts.
Oh.
And so I wanted to share
Okay.
some things. You just complimented me, and I'm like, well, look how far Priscilla has come.
Oh my goodness.
Since May 2019. So we were DMing after we met in that audition room, and neither of us have booked yet.
Okay.
I had booked Siren because I filmed in 2018.
I think you had, yeah.
Okay. So anyways, still nobody. So anyways, we meet in the audition room and, you know, both of us really striving to book a show.
Yeah.
And we were DMing and you said, I feel like I'm always having producer sessions or callbacks or testing, but I'm never booking and it's so frustrating.
Oh my God.
And I said,
so true.
I feel you, sad emoji. We picked the toughest industry, that's for sure, but something will land and we just can't give up. It sounds cliche, but it's true.
Oh my goodness.
And you said yes.
Not with the receipts. I love it.
And you said, yes, we have to stay positive. After this one, though, I'm super depleted.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Oh,
Wow.
I want to like cry.
Oh my goodness.
And then
I
you
was
said,
so depleted. I was exhausted. I was working like 2 jobs. I was living in like this horrible apartment in the valley with like 4 other girls in like a 3-bedroom. It was brutal. Wow. It was brutal. I was completely depleted at that point.
how often do you think about that? Like actually bridge the like, I lived here with 4 people.
Not as
and-
often as I used to, but I need to put that in my like my gratitude practice, I think, is remembering all that. Sometimes you just want to forget it though, how hard it was, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we talked a little bit about, you said, I wonder who ended up booking that Legacies thing we got called back for. And I said, Titans.
I've never known what the project is.
Even weeks after.
Even now. Yeah, weeks after. Wow,
And-
you've been correcting me about this for like
For
6
so long.
years. That's so funny.
And then, yeah, you said, I wonder. And I said, yeah, I wonder too.
Do we know who did?
No.
No, I don't know either.
And then I said, it's so hard with all the rejection. And you said, seriously, insane what we put ourselves through, but the payoff is incredible once it hits.
Wow.
Yeah. Isn't that cute?
Go us. High five.
Yay.
You're so proud of us.
So on that note, I did want to ask, when you weren't booking anything, you had this idea of what it would all feel like, I'm sure, when you
Yes.
did start working. And now you are a working actor. And like on a show that like good, great shows, you know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like
yeah.
success at its,
Yeah.
finest,
Yeah,
essentially.
thank you.
So this idea of like, we'll be better if we book, do you still believe that now that you're in this position? Happier, better? Is it everything you thought it would be?
It is, because even if it wasn't acting, I think anyone who's actively paid their dues and worked so hard for a goal and reached that goal, that's never not going to be a good feeling. Now, is it going to make you happy for a moment? Sure. Is it going to cure whatever's wrong in your life? For a moment, sure. But at the end of the day, you're still alone with yourself when you go home. So I think it's most important to be okay with that. And if you're happy with who you are, and if you can look in the mirror every morning and be proud of yourself and be pleased with how you carried yourself through the day, how you treated people around you, and you're just genuinely happy to the core, then I think all of that is even extra amazing. I do. And it actually does feel as amazing as I thought it would, to be honest. Yeah, it does.
That's beautifully
What about
said.
for you?
I agree. I
Yeah.
agree. I think that, I honestly, on all fronts, like it is a really taxing thing to pursue. And I think that if too many more years had gone on where I wasn't booking, I would probably be like, okay, let me check in with myself and see like if this
Right.
is, meant for me.
Yes.
I don't think that I would pursue it. Like I tell people don't give up, but there is a moment, like if you've been pursuing it for 12 years and and you're like actively like pursuing it and you've never booked something, I would just check in and be like, all right, what's going on? Like, is my heart and my mind aligned?
And is it okay if it keeps going this way forever? Am I going to be okay with this? Because that's what I admire. I've said this before, but I admire people in my acting studio because there's some actors in there who are in their 60s and who have a career and have a job, but they love acting for the art of acting, and they come to class every day prepared. They show up. Their talent is immeasurable, and they'll never be seen by the world. They just won't, either because they're not actively trying, because their goal is not to be on TV, or just because, like you said, they just haven't booked and may not, and they're okay with that because they come to class and they do the work. And I think those types of people are the most admirable.
I agree.
I admire them so much. The resilience is wild.
Yeah, and that's like 2 different types of people, right? Because acting it could be like if we wanted to take up taekwondo and we went every single week, but we weren't actually trying to be professional.
You know, Addie's doing taekwondo.
Really?
Right? Yeah.
Oh my God, I love that.
Yeah, I went and sat in on one of her lessons. I was on the bench, like watching her with her little white belt. And I felt like her mom. I know.
That's so cute.
I know.
Like, babe, we're gonna get ice cream after this, okay?
Exactly. We went bowling after. We actually did.
So
I'm sorry.
yeah, like she doesn't want to be a professional. I mean, she probably wants
Right.
to use it in acting. I'm
Yes,
guessing.
yes,
But
exactly.
my point is some people go to acting class because they're like, this is an outlet, this is a hobby, those things.
Yeah.
Now, to be completely honest, and I'll say it confidently, I wouldn't. That's not for me. You know what I mean? I wouldn't act for free. I've always pursued it as like, I want to do this as my career.
Yes.
And so I feel like there's,
Same.
you know what I mean?
But I do remember when I was first auditioning, probably around those times that we were DMing, I would tell my agents, if it was between me and another girl, I'd be like, just tell them they don't have to pay me. Like, I just want to work.
That's so precious.
Yeah, I know.
Well, yeah,
I know. So
those days,
naive. Like,
for
it just
sure.
works like that.
Yeah,
like,
yes,
okay.
I know.
Stupid.
The studio, just tell Netflix, like, it's fine.
I got them. Yeah.
Like, they care about the $3,000 for the episode.
I know my one-liner.
That's so precious.
I'm like, gotcha, babes. Gotcha, Netflix.
Yeah.
You can pay me back next time. I'll do you this solid.
Was your first booking a recurring? Did you ever?
Oh my God, girl. I've truly paid my dues. Like, I started at the bottom. I mean, my first thing was like an extra in a car commercial. And then I was like extra. I did a lot of extra stuff because I was modeling and they would just send us out. And I did like extra on Fast and the Furious and like Mark Wahlberg's The Gambler. And then from there, I booked a one-liner co-star on Masters of Sex, I think it was called. My line got cut, but you do see me in the background. My whole family gathered around the TV to watch me walk across the screen. We didn't know my line was cut, obviously, but they were still so happy. And then from there, I got a guest star, and then it just built its way up. But I really started at the bottom.
Yeah.
It's amazing to me, the people that just hit a series regular, blew up like 20 million followers overnight. It's like, wow.
And it depends on the show.
Yeah, it does.
Which is crazy. That there's the
does.
Outer Banks of the world, and then there's even Tell Me Lies is a good example. Like,
Yes.
it was a hit. Like, people loved it.
I loved it.
Yeah.
It was so good.
But it wasn't like, you know, our leads didn't get, you know, 2 million overnight like Outer Banks. So it's really interesting, actually.
It is so interesting.
I don't know the formula.
I think it's what's the generation beneath us?
Gen X,
I think it's because
Gen Z.
Gen Alpha, I think. What are you guys? Gen Z?
we're millennials.
We're millennials. Then it's Gen Z. Then
Gen
it's
Z.
Gen A.
Gen Z.
Gen
Alpha.
Z and Gen A. Okay, so
Sorry, Gen X is like
I think it's above
us. Okay, Gen Z.
But I think it's the audience or the shows that are targeted towards that audience because I think because they're the most active on Instagram. We're the only generation that we didn't have phones growing up. We played outside and we were here for the first iPhone and have been here through all of it. So we know both sides.
Yeah.
They just know their phones. They just know social media. That's where their lives are essentially. So I think the shows that do really well are the ones that cater towards that audience that's always on
That is so
that's always on Instagram.
true. Like The Summer I Turned Pretty. Have you seen that
Exactly.
show?
I watched the first episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Super young.
Yes.
Like, I watched it as well.
Outer Banks 2 was super young.
Super young. That makes so much
Riverdale
sense.
is young as well.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Because our show's a little more like Tell Me Lies. And I'm not saying that like if it wasn't as sexy it would be like some huge thing. I'm just saying it's
It's catered towards a bit of an older audience.
Yeah, that's so
even
true.
though you guys are in college, it's more
Mature.
of a mature show than I mean it's not PG, right?
Yeah, no, not
Essentially.
at all.
Yeah.
Wow, that's really interesting.
I think.
One thing I will say, we talked about money and stuff, but the fame aspect for me genuinely doesn't matter.
Same.
Like, I agree, by the way. Like, I want to be the offline, live on a farm, but work.
Yeah.
I want to go to work.
That is the dream, truly.
I want to be 1 through 5,
Yeah.
and I want to go to work.
Yeah.
And come home, and I want to have kids, and I
Yeah.
want, you know, that's the dream, and we're manifesting it right now.
Absolutely.
here.
Yes, we are.
Usually I ask this at the beginning, but I'm curious because you talked about starting as an extra. Did you always want to be an actor?
I don't remember it that way, but when I talk to my family, they say I always did. I don't remember it that way though.
You just remember slowly, because you're in LA, so you remember kind of slowly just fading
Falling into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm not one of those kids who was 14, left high school, you know, got homeschooled, moved to LA to be an actor. Like that definitely wasn't my case. I actually always thought, because my family is very left-brained, they're all in some form of business. So I thought if I was in film, it would be producing or, you know, on that end of it. I didn't think I would be creative. Creativity does not run in my family.
Yeah.
At all.
Same with me.
Yeah.
I actually don't feel like I'm that like
creative besides acting.
Yeah.
Same.
Really?
I have no other talent. Dude, I swear. I can't sing, I can't dance, I can't draw.
I can't sing, dance, or draw either.
I really wish I could do.
all.
Okay, if you could sing, dance, or draw, which one would you choose to be like excellent at?
Definitely sing.
I think I would draw.
That's cool.
I think I would choose.
I am not joking. Stick figures.
Oh, no, same. Same. I don't have a creative bone in my body besides acting, but I'm so happy for that outlet. Because imagine if we didn't act and we just weren't creative at all.
I know. It's the only thing that I have. But there's also a logistical element to acting that helps me. That is because since I am so logistical.
Something I've noticed about you is you are very, like, I remember you were saying that you've saved like every audition that you have and you have it in like a binder. Like what?
Yeah.
Mine are like all stuffed in like a box in the closet. Some are in the trash. Some are probably at my mom's house. Like there's no way. That's amazing though that you have that. I want to see all of those stacked up.
There's so many.
You've really kept every single one?
A lot, yeah.
Wow.
Almost all of them. Especially back in the
That's
day,
amazing.
I used to write on them, highlight. Now I don't. I don't know if you're similar.
I sometimes.
I don't know if it's a progression or a
No, I agree with you completely. I used to mark up my sides. My sides. I used to write on the back, highlight, character notes, inner monologue, whatever. Like it was like graffiti. And now sometimes I don't. And I don't know if it's a progression or regression. I can't tell if it's me being lazy or I've just gotten better and I can do it in my head. But sometimes if I feel like I haven't booked in a while, I'll be like, maybe I need to do that. So I'll sit down, do all the things, but I don't know that it necessarily helps me, to be honest. And you know, what's really interesting, working on Based on a True Story, I worked opposite amazing actors. There was Kaylee Cuoco, who's a genius, and then Chris Messina also. And I got to see both of their prep styles. And Chris is that person who will make notes and work with, I don't know if he had a coach actually, but I think he did, but he would make notes and really break the scene apart and pull out the notes and the layers and his character's inner monologue and the subtext and do all of that. And Kaylee will be on set, she'll read it, she'll be like, okay, and just do it.
And
you know,
both
so
amazing actors.
And both incredible. And both absolutely incredible.
So it's just whatever works for you, I guess.
Yeah, and I don't think it has to be one or the other. I think depending on the phase of our life and just where we are, the character that we're going for, it just prep might be different.
Yeah. But I think actually now that I think about it, I think it is a progression.
Yeah?
Because, well, I don't know, because Chris, you said his name is Chris?
Chris Messina. Mm-hmm.
Chris has clearly been doing this for years and he still does it. So maybe not. But I will say when I was on Siren and it was obviously my first show and I marked up all my sides.
Yeah.
And I asked Aline, the lead, I was like, do you still highlight your lines and like write notes? And she's like, the sweetest girl ever. I always said when I'm the lead of a show, I want to be like her.
Oh, I hope she hears this.
Yeah. But she was like, I used to. She's like, I don't anymore. But I totally, like, I did that for so long. And now I just kind of, you know, don't.
But once you know the character, too, I think you need to do it less. But I don't find that it ever actually helps me unless it's subconscious. But I do feel like if I don't get it, I'm like, at least I did the work. It makes me feel like I did the work.
Yes.
That's what it is.
That's true. And I guess for me, it makes me feel more prepared because it's in you. You can, for lack of a better word, throw it away because you've done the work.
But now that I'm thinking about it, the major roles I booked, I didn't do that for.
Interesting.
Yeah, I definitely didn't do that for Based on a True Story. For sure I didn't. I was like in Paris and I just didn't have time. I just like threw it on tape and left. God. It was very spontaneous.
Wait, and that was not, I auditioned, no, that was a different one. that we both, never mind, because we asked to tape each other and I was like, oh, I have that too.
Oh,
And
yeah.
that was something else.
Yeah, that was something else.
Because I was going to say, that was intense. I was like, you threw that one together. Remember that one?
Yes, I really did not nail that one at all.
Me either.
No, I like my agents when I was done, they were like, you did it like a rom-com. It's a sci-fi horror. Like, what the hell?
They said that.
Yeah,
I
they
love
said
that.
that. And I was like, I know. Like, let's just not submit that one. But thank you for taping that with me.
Oh,
I appreciate
yes,
it.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
We did that at your house.
Yeah,
I love your house, by the way. You know that. I'm obsessed with it.
We could tape there anytime.
I might take you up on that because, so for self-taping, how do you feel? You do it with Brando, right? Mm-hmm. So you probably, so for me, it's hard because I live alone.
Yeah.
I feel like an inconvenience asking other friends of mine to tape with me because it's just, even though they won't mind, like I know I could call you and you wouldn't mind, but there's just something in me that's like, I don't want to impose on this person. I don't want to like be a nuisance to them. So I ended up I hire this service sometimes where someone just like reads over Zoom with me, but it's someone I don't know necessarily. So I'm trying to figure out the self-taping thing.
Okay, that's fascinating. I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, she's great. Her name's Mara Klein. Her company's called, I think, My Audition Friend or something, but I'll pay her like $40 for a half hour or something and she'll read opposite. But it's just so different than being like across from someone, feeding off of someone.
Yeah.
But I don't feel bad asking her to redo it
No,
or do
you're
it
literally
different
paying.
or-
You feel good. You're paying
feel
her.
fine
You're
about
like,
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how does that? Yeah. So acting wise, I guess is my main question.
Yeah.
How does that? Is that okay for you?
Sometimes it is, but I think just doing anything the same all the time is gonna put me like in stuck mode. So I think I've been doing it with her for a while. She's been great. I've gotten some great feedback, but I think I need to switch it up a little bit for myself just to get myself out of that comfort zone.
Yeah, I think having a solid couple friends that you know you can text is not an imposition.
Yeah, I think that's right. Imposition. It feels right.
Yeah, it's because then I could, it's reciprocated. Like I might call and ask you.
Yeah.
And also auditioning is like, especially in the stage we're at, it's like back in the day I did 40 takes.
Right.
Now I don't. Are
Yeah.
you
How
similar?
many do you think you do?
I do very little these days.
Okay.
I hate watching back and trying to pick
same.
and wanting to mesh them together and create one tape of 4 different tapes because you can't do that.
Yeah.
So I try to do, I do like 2 or 3.
I'll probably do about 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Maybe 6.
Yeah, that's not bad at all.
Yeah, unless it's super short, or I don't know, unless I just feel great about it. But yeah, I remember those days where it'd be like the smallest
10.
tape would take like 2 hours.
Yes.
Or something like that.
So that's my point. That's what
Yeah.
I was saying is like it's an hour long
Yeah.
at the most of
Oh
like
yeah, at the very most.
yeah. So no, I don't think it's
I
it's
know.
bad.
I need to get that out of my mind that I'm like inconveniencing people because I know if someone asked me, I would be
Exactly.
happy to.
Think of it that way.
Oh,
next
and
time.
like I told you today, so at my acting studio that I kind of like grew up at, they basically raised me. Spicer Sturgis, they're amazing. But today they hosted a short film competition or a short script competition, and then the winner got however much money to film it. So today they're doing auditions at the studio for the lead female, and my acting coach said I can come and watch. So I'm going to be on the other side of casting today.
That's gonna be so much fun.
I know.
What do you think it's gonna be like?
I think I'm going to learn a lot. I'm going to feel for these girls because I'm going to know how nerve-wracking it is. Also, it's in person,
Yeah.
It's in person, so
Wait.
that's different.
Priscilla, I want you to call me after tomorrow because I'm curious. You got to put your casting director hat on too and be like, are all these girls doing it the same exact way?
Yeah.
Like that's interesting to me. And I
Yeah.
know it's not a judgment. It's just simply an
Observation.
observation. Because that's one
I'm so
thing.
excited to see. I'm excited to see everyone's takes. I'm excited to see like the notes on, like I'm gonna look on their sides and see these girls like graffitied their notes like we used to, or these girls didn't write anything. Like I'm just so curious.
Oh,
But I'm not even the casting director. I just asked if I could sit in, so I'm just gonna be in the back probably.
watching. Yeah. No, that's great. I really want to hear how it goes because
Yeah.
my boyfriend is he owns a commercial production company.
Yeah.
So he gets commercial auditions and it's fascinating. First of all, thousands.
I'm sure.
And he does not he can't watch them all.
Yeah.
So it's he literally like clicks just like random ones. But it's also a commercial, so it's not as like disrespectful to not watch them all. There's like it's for like a
I
one.
mean, if there's thousands and say it's like each one is a minute long, that is hours and hours and hours
but
and hours.
seeing how everyone does it is so interesting.
Oh, I can't wait.
I loved it.
I'm so excited.
Okay,
and I
wait.
hope they all do really well and are
Yeah.
proud of themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're not going to be intimidated by a beautiful girl in the back looking at them. I do have one more question really quickly. So
Are we on time? Are we
yeah,
okay?
we're a little past, but it's okay.
I knew we were going to go
Yeah.
past. Yeah.
I really want to ask because I've been mentoring
I saw that.
yeah.
I love that you're doing that.
actors
Yeah.
and one of the main questions people ask me is if I think networking is important.
Okay.
So I'm curious as to your take on that.
Yeah, I do think it's important. I have not gotten any jobs via my own networking
Me
yet,
either, by the way.
at least. But I don't think networking would ever be a bad idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think it's worth being like stressed about as
No.
far as like, yeah.
No, I
agree.
think just show up as your kind, original, authentic self, whether it's at a premiere or at the grocery store, and you're going to network naturally when you're living in the same city as all the people in your industry. But I don't think that I know people have like networking classes for actors. Like, I think that is insane and ridiculous. Like, go out in the world. I hope this is what you're telling your people too.
Yeah, it
and I'm
is.
not just totally going against
It
you.
is.
Okay. Like, yeah, just go out, be yourself. Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. No, I don't think that it needs to be like, it's not part of the job.
Yeah.
That's why you have agents and managers. Their job, my agent, Ro, she's in her 70s. She's been in the industry for like 50 years. She's networked for 50 years. She can get anyone on the phone. That is why we hire them. That's why we give them 10% of our salary.
Yeah.
Is so we don't have to worry about that. So no, I definitely wouldn't worry about it.
We can go on and on and on and on because I can do a whole episode about how important our team is.
Oh my gosh.
Versus worrying about social media or networking or sending thank you letters to the casting director, or it's like find a team that loves you, that
Yes.
believes in you, that is
Yes.
picking up the phone and pitching you,
Yes.
and you're golden.
1000%.
And do the work.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great advice. That's like the best advice you could ever give an actor right there, for sure.
Done.
Yeah.
Mic drop, closing it out. Oh, Priscilla, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
And I didn't even I kind of just went into talking about your shows organically, but you guys can watch Priscilla on Based on a True Story.
Yes.
And Good Trouble.
Yes.
Anything else?
We'll leave it
Those
there.
are the best ones.
Those are the best ones.
I love it. And then
Based on a True Story is so much fun. That was
So
like
good.
the funnest show I've ever done in my life. And they're 30-minute episodes. There's like 6. You can binge it in 3 hours.
And you'll have to binge it
And
because it's a page turner.
Exactly.
It's so freaking good.
So fun.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you,
seriously.
my love. Thank you.
And working with such stars, that's
Yeah.
your level. You know what I mean?
Thank you.
Yeah. And then I'll put Priscilla's Instagram in the show notes so you guys can give her a follow.
Yay.
And that's it.
Thanks, Nat. That was so fun. I loved it.